Options sound great, but what about the legal paperwork? What about the contracts we need to use? Solicitors, we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about understanding your exit strategy. You've got a guest, hope, who's going to come on and share a little bit of insight into exit strategy and how that works. Some people worry about, well, what happens at the end of the option period? How do I buy it then? We're going to talk about how you do that. And I'm going to really talk about how you could get your next deal before the end of 2025. Okay. By the way, if you'd like to get your deal before next deal before the end of 2012, just put deal into the chat box. So yeah, I would love to get a purchase lease option agreed, secured, creating cash for me before the end of the year. Just put deal into the chat box. Yeah, I see lots of deals. Of course, why would you not want to do this? Absolutely. Okay, great. So yesterday, obviously, we did a quick recap of day one. By the way, just so you know, the recordings of these sessions are available in the Facebook group. Now, it's not going to be forever. It's going to be literally a couple of days. And I think my team are putting together a page with a summary of all three of the hour-long recordings. That will only be available, I think, till Friday. So if you've missed any, look out for the emails coming out from us. Great chance to go and recap or watch again if you want to do that. Okay. If you go to the Facebook group, there's a section called Files at the top, a little content thing. Click on Files and the recordings are in there for you. Okay. We talked about the very important point. Why on earth? Why would a seller want to give you an option? And we basically talked about, well, look, if someone can sell their property and get the full amount they want right now, they'd probably do that. But the reality is people can't sell at the full price in the current market. That's the first point. Secondly, there are not that many buyers out there, and we could potentially give them more money than they get from a conventional sale if they're prepared to wait. And we take away the hassle very quickly and get the deal done in 3 or 4 weeks. So, you know, we're just giving them alternatives. Does it work for everyone? No, of course it doesn't. If they want the money back, well, it's probably not going to work. Okay. But if they don't need the money now, actually, this could be a great solution for them. We talked about how to find potential lease options online, and we got Guillaume, very kindly came from Property Filter to demonstrate to us exactly how we can use Property Filter. And I think many people were surprised just how many properties are on the market for sale and rent right now. Now, there are quite a few apartments, obviously, and apartments may not be the thing you want to buy and hold long term. But by the way, apartments are great to sell to tenant buyers. So you can get fees by putting people in who can't get on the property ladder now. They want to get their foot on the run, so to speak. And you could give them lease options and get paid a really good fee for doing that, £3,000 to £5,000 typically. So, but there are lots of options out there, right? And then we talked about how we can find them offline. There were 6 different ways of finding landlords, maybe even before the properties are put on the market, where they might be motivated to sell. And I do hope you committed to at least 1 or 2 of those ways to put into practice this week to start finding potential lease option deals. And then we covered briefly, what do you actually say to them? How do you position the idea of a lease option? And basically what you're saying is, I'd like to rent now and then potentially buy in the future, because that's what we're doing. So we never talk about lease options, purchase options, because most sellers have never heard of them. Most agents have never heard of them. And, most solicitors have never heard them either. So you've got to keep it in very simple language, showing how you're solving their problem. And remember, if someone's selling a property, we need to work out, are they doing it because they want the money? Or are they doing it now? Or are they doing it because they just don't want the hassle? And we ask that question about, do you want to sell quickly and get the money in the bank as soon as possible? Or do you want to get as much as you can? Suggesting if they get more, they're going to have to wait. And if they say, I'd rather get more and wait, that could be suitable for an option. So we covered that. Really, really important. Now, the homework for yesterday was, first of all, make sure you come and register for a free trial of Property Filter. It's now only 7 days you can get, but we've extended it to a 14-day trial. And if you like it, you can stay on and pay half price for your first month. The thing about something like Property Filter is, imagine you've got people who've been trying to sell a property on the market, and then they might get to the point and say, this is crazy, I've got an empty property, it costs me money, I'm just going to rent it out if I can't sell. So anytime someone might have had the property on for a long time, and anytime they might decide to rent. So if you go and look right now, a snapshot right now of what's available, it might well be different tomorrow, next week, next month, because other people have decided I can't sell, I'm going to rent. So it's really important to stay subscribed to something like that because there's some great opportunities there. Of course, you don't have to pay for Property Filter. You could go on, you could have two windows open, look for properties for sale, look for rent, match up the pictures, etc. You can definitely do it manually, but it will take a lot more time. And for the sake of £100 a month or something, you've got to value your time. Why not find the deals and spend your time actually contacting agents and speaking to the owners rather than trying to find the opportunities in the first place? You've got to really value your time. So a lot of people are already on Property Filter and say they love it so much. And we said, come and comment if you're already on, just let us know you're already registered, or if you registered for the trial, come and do that. Team, can we just put a link for that in the chat box again, please, for Property Filter, just in case people weren't here yesterday and they didn't get a chance to it. So there's a link. If we can put that in the chat box right now, then you can go and watch the video from yesterday and see how that all works and then take out the trial. Definitely worth doing. So I suggest you click on the link. If you anything we talk about and the link comes to the chat box, click on the link now so it opens up that window. You don't have to go and fill it all in now, but open it so when we finish the webinar, you've got the links and you don't suddenly lose everything. Okay. So that's the first bit of homework. Then we said, go and look. Go and look for some deals. Go and look for some potential deals. See what's out there. See what's available. And lots of people did that. I'm going to show you the results of that in just a moment. And then finally, our prize draw for today, which we announced yesterday, was we've got our Wealth Blueprint Summit, which is a 2-day virtual event, not just about property, but it's about business and also about stocks. Show you how you create your long-term generational wealth using all of those assets. Amazing show. We've done it once before in January. Really fantastic feedback from that. It's a £2,000 event, but we're doing it again in October. And someone here is going to win a ticket to that. Someone who has done the homework yesterday and on day one, who's done all of it. Our team have been checking, who's been saying they've been doing it. And then obviously someone who's actually here live today. We'll do that draw in just a moment. However, first of all, I'm going to show you what the results are of taking action. I'll stop sharing my screen just for a second. And I am going to see if I can get the internet. Give me 1 second. Let me try and get this up. Here we go. Okay, yeah. Now let me share this. So this is the Facebook group, and this is the post where we did the homework about come and tell us what you've done. And look at all these people, 58 people. So you still got time if you want to be in the draw, so come do us. Put potential deals. I can't find the link to do this part of the homework. Linda, so Linda, there's going to be post 1. We've just put the link in the chat box anyway. But post number 1 from day 2 has got the link, the QR code on there. And we just put the link in the chat box as well. Look at this. Vicky says lots of flats, yeah, which you may or may not want to take on as investments, but great for tenant buyers, but still worth sending letters to those available. Absolutely. Potential deals. Potential deals. Created a new lead generator and found quite a few deals in my area, says John. Found it. Potential. Look, all these people who've done this. And it's amazing what happens when you take some action. And it wasn't a difficult thing to do. Doesn't take a long time. And when you're first new to property field, it takes a little bit of getting used to it, but they have lots of support there. But just goes to show when you take action, amazing things happen. Most investors, they just don't do enough. They're just not taking the necessary action to move themselves forward. And that's part of the point of challenges, is by doing the little things to move you forward, you start to make progress and realize, actually, maybe this is possible to do. If you're not in the Facebook group yet, I'm going to put this up one more time. Get your phone out right now, open up your camera, hold it over the QR code, and maybe the team can share the link in the chat box. If you're actually watching on your camera, maybe the team can put the link in the chat box for the Facebook group. Click on that, come and join the Facebook group, because that's where you get to do the homework. And by the way, even if you haven't done the homework yet, even if you're not going to be in the prize draw because of that, it's still worth doing the homework because the whole point is it's about you just moving forward and making small steps. Okay. So I really want to encourage you to do that, to take the action, to be accountable. And because no one's going to do this for you, right? There are some people in this group who are going to do this, they're going to start finding potential deals, and they're going to have deals before Christmas. And some will overthink it, overanalyze it, allow life to get in the way. Don't allow that to happen. It's a great time to be finding deals right now. Okay, so join the Facebook group. Now, we'll do the prize draw. We're quarter of an hour in. Hopefully most people are here by now. So this is the prize. In October, we've got these 2 days. 2 days of training, the 4th and 5th of October. One of the bits of homework is to come and tell us if you're available. We're only going to pick someone who can obviously make it and is actually here as well. So I'm going to call out a name. If you're the winner, you need to come and type in the chat box saying, yes, I'm here, or maybe even better, unmute yourself. So make sure you know where the unmute is, because I want you to shout out, scream and cheer like an American. Let us know you're here, and we will then award you that, that prize. And my team will be in touch to get you booked in. It's all about how to build generational. So it's not just about property. It's about stock market investing. It's about business and how they all link together. It's really an amazing, amazing event. Okay. It is, tickets are, full price is 1,997, including VAT. We do a few offers and things, but that's the full list price. And I think it's worth far more than that, by the way. We had a money back guarantee. Nobody asked their money back when we did it in January. Amazing, amazing event. 100% money back guarantee. The way that works on our events, up to halfway through a virtual event like that one, let us know if it's not right for you and we'll give you all your money back. Okay. And I say no one did last time, but someone is going to win this ticket today. So let me go to my WhatsApp. Let me see. And it looks like somebody's done the homework. If you are here, come and comment in the chat box or unmute yourself, shout out. If you don't do that quickly, we will redraw. But this goes to today to Leah Phillips. Leah Phillips, are you here? You need to come and type in the chat box. Ah, hello, Leah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Exciting. Thank you very much.
Excellent. It's an amazing 2 days. By the way, because it's virtual, you've got some, if you've got a significant other or adult kids, get them watching it because it's something for the whole family. And you've got a complimentary ticket to that training. Okay.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah,
Right.
I'll be
Well
there.
done. Thanks.
Thank you so
Are you
much.
enjoying the challenge so far?
Yes, it's been really, really helpful. Thank you.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Yeah.
being here. Thanks for taking action. Thanks for doing the homework, and you've been rewarded because of it. Great. Did you find some potential deals, by the way?
I have, yeah, some potential holiday lets.
Oh, fantastic. Even better. Great.
Yeah.
Well, just shows there's, was it, and obviously they may or may not turn into option deals, obviously. And actually any interaction with agents or sellers, I think it's all good practice. And so don't expect the first, you might be lucky, the first one might turn into an option, but it's all good experience.
Yeah.
But was it easier than you thought to find potential option deals?
If I'm honest, I've been looking for a while, so I'm kind of I wouldn't say I'm adept. I'm not very good at picking up the phone yet, but
Okay. Right.
I'm a little bit addicted to trying to find potential purchase options.
Okay, good. So let me help you with that if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Once you find something online, you just got to go and do a viewing.
yeah,
Just go and do the viewing. No, nothing's, no one's died doing that just yet. There's always going to be a first, obviously, but hopefully not you or anyone else on this challenge. So just go and do the viewing. And remember, you
yeah,
don't have to make an offer there and then. You do
yeah,
that. And I would say to, by the way, tip for everyone here. I'm helping Leah, but I hope you help everyone. When you go to a property, I would walk in and I would say to the owner, to the agent, whatever, say, I'm going to make an offer on this, but I'm not going to do it today.
yeah.
So you're showing they're serious. You're going to make, because you are going to make an offer on the property.
Mm.
I'm not going to do it. That takes pressure off you, takes pressure off them, and everyone can just relax. And you can ask some questions and hopefully find out if it's going to be suitable. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. So take the pressure off yourself. Then obviously you can come back, do your numbers, and then you can make a formal offer to them. Okay.
Okay, thank
Great.
you.
Awesome. Thanks so much and congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, let's talk about legals. Let's talk about paperwork, shall we? And it makes me cringe sometimes when I see people on Facebook say, oh, has anyone got a lease options contract, please? I need a contract. Can I have a look at it? And that is a very, very bad idea. Okay. You don't need an option agreement. Let me explain why you don't need an option agreement. Because I highly, highly recommend that you get a solicitor who understands options, and that can be a challenge in itself, to put the contract together for you. Now, you will need something called the heads of terms. I'll explain what you need in that in a moment, but you do not need an options contract. You see, option contracts, they're all bespoke. They are based on what the deal consists of. And there are similar elements in all agreements, but the actual agreement done by a solicitor will be done to be perfect for that particular deal. And if you try and copy and paste it, change some details, there's a chance that it won't be fit for purpose. And one of the reasons we use solicitors, if they make a mistake, we can sue them on their professional indemnity insurance. Whereas if you do a copy and paste and try and use that, there's only one idiot you can sue. And that's you for not using a solicitor, right? So sometimes people try, oh, I want to save myself 1,500 quid. I want to use a solicitor. You've got to invest, investing in this. This is a business. So you've got to make some investments, right? So don't ever ask for something. Now, sometimes the reason someone's asking for an agreement is this seller says, okay, this sounds good. Well, can I see an agreement, please? So listen carefully. Here's what you say to them. You say, just what I've said to you. We'll say, well, every agreement is bespoke. If I showed you a contract from the previous deal, first of all, they're all confidential. So I don't really want to show you another person's contract because it's confidential. Even if I just had a template, if I showed you that, that wouldn't be exactly what we're doing. And so it wouldn't be relevant to show you that. So instead, what I'm going to do is this. We're going to talk about and agree the heads of terms. So we're going to talk through the heads of terms. That's what we're agreeing to do. And then the solicitors will put together a legally binding contract for us. Now, and then I'll explain, do you have a solicitor who understands how to do these? Now, often they'll say no, but they might say, oh yeah, I've got a sister, my family sister, we've been with 30 years, I know everything, right? Chances are they won't know how to do options. And so what you'd explain is, look, there are, this is quite a new thing. Most conveyancing solicitors will have never have done this, okay? And so there's a chance if you speak to your solicitor, one is either they've never heard of it and try and put you off doing it, and that's just a lack of their knowledge. Or if they're a good solicitor, they might say, well, okay, that sounds interesting. Let me look into it. Let me research it. But you're going to pay the time they're researching. So it's going to cost you a lot more money. Or they don't know what they're doing, say they're going to do it, and then they mess it up. So the thing is, do you want to get this deal done or not? Yes, I do. Okay. So I want to present you with a panel of solicitors. You can choose whoever you want from this panel. They are all people who've done this before. They know exactly what to do. And not only will they do it cheaper than another solicitor because they're doing it all the time, they don't have to work it out, but also they'll get it done quicker. How quickly do you want to get rid of this property, right? And so when they understand that and you give them a panel, they can then choose someone from that panel. Okay, so you need a panel of solicitors who can do this. And they sometimes think, oh, well, I want to make sure the solicitor's representing me. When they engage a solicitor and pay them their fees, that solicitor is duty bound to look after that client, to have a duty of care to that client. They will make sure that the client understands exactly what they are signing up for. Okay. And it's not worth them for the £1,000 or £1,500 they get. It's not worth them not giving good advice because they could lose their license. They could stop trading. So you've got to explain that, the solicitor's job is there to protect you as the customer. And that's exactly what they will do. Otherwise, they could be struck off by the Law Society. So you've just got to show them that if it says they don't know, they're not so sure about, they are safe because that solicitor is going to represent them. And your solicitor is going to represent you. And the two solicitors work together to put together the agreement based on the heads of terms that's been agreed. So that's kind of what you explain to people. It's important because I've used great solicitors who know what they're doing, and I've encouraged people to use solicitors again who know what they're doing. One time I had a deal on a deal agreed on a London small studio apartment, which was it wasn't a great deal, but it was an okay deal. The owner, when I asked him his question, said, oh, I've got a friend. She's just set up her own law practice. I said I'd give her my bill. I want to support her. And turns out she didn't know what the hell she was doing. 6 months later, this deal still wasn't done. And to be honest, I'd lost the will to live, chasing this person, following up. And so actually I just decided to call it a day, not do it. I should have persevered probably because it was a studio flat in London, which might be worth 2 or 3 times what it was when I was going to get the option on it. But you know what? I had other bigger fish to fry. So I'd use my time elsewhere. But if you don't get the right solicitors, it can ruin it for you. And I'll show you later on how you can get the right solicitors. Okay. But it's very, very important. So with that in mind, you don't need the contract. What you do need is what's called the heads of terms, the HOTs. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what are not. So write this down, and literally, this can be on a piece of paper. You sit down and write this with the person, or you put a little template together. So here's the heads of terms. At the top, it has your name and your address. Now, it might well be you do an option in your name, your own name, which you can, or you might do it in a company name. Okay, probably doing it in a company, a trading business is the best way to do it, unless you're living there yourself as a tenant buyer, which we talked about a couple of times. If you want to be a tenant buyer, then you probably do it in your own name. Okay, so you have a contract, name, and address. You have the seller's name and address. Then the next thing you have on your heads of terms is the property address on which you're doing the option. Now, if it's a landlord and they've got a portfolio, you actually do one of these for each property. So that means extra legal costs, but you don't want to have one portfolio on one option, because what happens if you want to sell one early or exercise early, that's going to cause a problem in the future. So although it's a bit more legal cost, you want an individual agreement for each property. So the heads of terms must state the property address which you are doing the option on. Next, you put the agreed option price, the price at which you can buy the property. It might be the full market price today, today's current market. We talked about this yesterday, where today's full market price, if the values go up, which most people expect they will, might be discounted compared to the future value. Okay. So today's full market price, it might be slightly less, might be slightly more. If people are worried about, well, the value's going to go up, you might give them a little bit more than the current market value. But the point you need to remember here is this is probably going to be more than they could get if they sold it conventionally in the market right now. And that's a benefit for them doing the option. If you're looking to buy massively below market value, it's probably not really fair if you say, oh, I'll buy it and I want to pay you in 5 years' time. That's too much in your favor, not in their favor. It's got to be an equal win-win, right? So you're probably going to be, the price is probably going to be close to the market value. Next is, how long is the option term for? What's the duration of the term? And let's say it's 5 years. Remember, you could buy any time in that 5 years. You could buy in month 2, in year 3, or even right up until 5 months. However, and we're going to talk about exit strategies later, if you are going to buy and it's a 5-year option, make sure you leave enough time to get your mortgage in place and your legals, etc. I would start that 6 months before the end of the option period. I've seen it before. I've seen experienced investors make the mistake. They leave things too late. They run out of time, because on a year, 5 years and 1 day, the ownership goes back to the owner and you lose control. Okay, so make sure you have things lined up. And when you take out an option, write this down. It's a really important thing. Whenever you take out an option, and hopefully you're going to do lots of them, put in your diary a note when it expires. And 6 months before that, put a diary note. You can do it on your phone years in advance to say, today is 6 months from this particular option. Pull your finger out, sort out what you're going to do with this deal. Okay, so give yourself plenty of time. Okay, so we talked about your name, your address, the owner's name, their address, the property address. So remember, if it's an investment property, it will be a different address, but it might be a residential, might be the home address. How much you're agreeing to buy it for. Remember, you've got the right, but not the obligation. How long do you have that right for? And the next thing is the upfront option fee. Now, normally it's £1. Normally it's £1. However, it might be several £1,000s. If it's a really good cash flowing deal, they might want £5,000 for it. Also, the option fee, you might agree to pay for their legal fees, for example. You might agree to pay the estate agent if it's come through an agent. All of that you would pay in the upfront option fee that the owner can then use to pay the agent. Because really the owner needs to pay the agent, because the agent works for the owner. The owner needs to pay their solicitor. Okay, so but you pay the money as part of the upfront option fee. They then get the money, they can use it to do what they need to do. And by the way, any upfront option fee comes off the end price. If it's a pound, we don't really bother. But if it's £5,000, £10,000, we definitely want to make sure that comes off. Okay. The next thing is you want to just put there the fact that it's an assignable contract. That's very important. If you don't want to buy, you want to be able to assign to someone else. And then next, you want to talk about any special conditions. So let's say you want to put a new kitchen in. I suggest you put that you are going to be putting a new kitchen in and get them to agree to up front. Because remember, it's still their home. You've got controlling it, but it's still their property. And so I would get agreement of things you want to do to the property. Most of those things should be things that are adding value anyway. So the owner should be very happy. You know, if you didn't buy, you've increased the value of the property by the things you've done to the property. Okay. That's what you need in a heads of terms. Who's responsible for what? And generally you take on full responsibility for everything. If you bought a property, you'd be responsible for everything, right? So it's like you bought it, but you just haven't had to get a mortgage and you haven't had to put a big deposit in. It's not actually in your name at the moment, but you're kind of responsible for it. So when you do an option, all the due diligence you would do when you normally buy, you do the same things. You might get your solicitor to do the local searches as if you were going to buy. Okay. I personally don't bother, but you might want to do that. You might get a valuation, just a Brixham, what's it worth right now? Just to make sure you're not paying massively over the odds. Okay. As you become more experienced, less of things, you'll do less of these things, but that's things you might do if you want to. I don't bother those personally. I've got a pretty good idea working out the value. But the special conditions or anything else you want to do. Okay. The solicitors will then put the contracts together and they'll make sure that it meets that agreement. And your solicitor will make sure you understand, their solicitor make sure they understand, you sign it all. And that point, when you've signed contracts, that's when you get the keys. That's when you can start doing stuff. You might get a key undertaking to get the keys slightly earlier. And then the property is secure. They cannot sell it to anyone. They cannot change their mind. You decide later on if you want to buy that property or not. Okay. So that is what you need for the heads of terms. It really is as straightforward as that. It's the agreement that you reach on paper. That's what you send to the solicitors for them to put it into proper legal speak. Okay. Now, you might say, that's great. I understand that. But what about at the end of the period? What then? What about when I need to actually buy it? How do I get a mortgage? How do I find a deposit? Well, there are 4 things that can happen at the end of a lease option. Just again, keeping it really simple for you. The first one is you buy the property at the agreed price. So, you say it's worth 200,000. You could buy it for that. It might be worth 250 or 300. You're going to buy it 200,000, which means you put your deposit in, you get your mortgage as normal. I haven't got time to explain that. There is a creative way where you can actually, we will go through a case study where if the value has gone up enough, and if it's a rental property, so if it's a rental, but the value's gone up enough, and you've got some equity there, the difference between the purchase price and what it's worth, you could potentially use that equity as the deposit. Let me say that again. The capital growth can potentially be used as the deposit. I'm going to give you an example of that in just a moment with a live case study we're going to do. Okay. And that's what you're going to do most of the time. You're going to buy it. Okay. Maybe you've had a really good rental. Maybe you use an HMO or SA and you've saved some of that rental profit and you use that as the deposit to buy. Maybe you've got a number of these options and you're not going to keep all of them. You're going to keep just the best ones. And so a number of them you assign onto, we'll talk about that in a moment. You make a profit from, even though you haven't bought them, and that profit you can use for the deposits for the ones you want to keep. So don't worry about the deposit in the future. Obviously, if you're buying it, you will need to be able to get a mortgage. Okay. But even if you've got a bad credit rating now, long enough time, you can work on your credit rating and improve it such by the time it comes to buy, you've got a satisfactory credit rating. Or if you just can't get credit, you could potentially put it into a joint venture partner's name. You would have a friend, a family member who recognizes there's some equity. It's a great deal because you've got a load of free equities, like you're buying at a discount in the future. So maybe you can put it in someone else's name just in case you can't get mortgages. Or I was speaking to someone the other day who was getting divorced, and so they didn't want to buy anything new in the name. Well, you could do it in someone else's name. Okay, so there's all ways to get around this. Okay, but buying it is probably the most likely outcome. Okay, If you don't want to buy it for whatever reason, maybe whatever reason, you can assign it to someone else. So just, I'm not going to start. So listen to what I'm saying carefully. Let's say property is worth 200,000 today, and that's the option price we agree. And in 5 years' time, it's gone up to, I don't know, 250,000, but you don't want it. What you could do, you could sell that property at a bit of a discount. You've never owned it, but you control it. You could sell it at maybe 240, 235. So a little bit of a discount. So someone buying it might want to buy this one instead of all the others like it that are worth 250 because they can buy this one at a slight discount. Let's say they buy it for 235 and you're getting it for 200. What happens is their solicitor will send all the money to the seller's solicitor. The seller will get the 200 you've agreed, and you get the 35,000 as a cash payment to you. And those payments you can use as the deposits for the ones you want to keep. Because if you get into options, it's unlike you're just going to do one. Once you see how amazing this is, you're going to want to do a whole load of these. And you might meet a landlord that's got 5 or 10 properties that could be done on this basis. And then you can basically use the equity growth in the ones that you don't want to fund the ones you do want to keep. Okay. So signing is a great thing to do. Now, you can always renegotiate. There's no obligation for the owner to do this, but maybe the values haven't gone up and you're not in a position to buy. And remember, the owner doesn't really want this property back. They want to get rid of it. So you might agree to extend the option term for another 3 years, 5 years. You might pay a small fee to do that. You might pay a little bit each month to do that, but potentially you could renegotiate. Just bear in mind, they're not obligated to, and they might take the property back at the end of the option period. My experience is they don't really want it. They don't want to do that, but they might do. So you might want to renegotiate. Or number 4 is you can walk away and give the property back. Remember, you've got the right to buy, but not the obligation. You might just enjoy the cash flow all that time and not actually buy the property. My belief is if you give it back from an ethical and moral point of view, you should give it back in the same as or better condition than when you first got it. Okay. Very quickly, I want to run through a case study. So, Michelle, are you here with us today?
I am here, Simon. Can you hear me
Wonderful. I
okay?
can. I will see you now as well. Great. Thank you. Michelle, we're literally going to run through this for 5 minutes, if that's okay.
Yep.
And thank you so much for coming on. But many of you will know Michelle. Just a lot of work with YPN, one of our mastermind students. And Michelle, you've done a whole load of creative deals, such as vendor finance, all sorts of things like this as well. And obviously, you've done a number of options. And this particular option is a great one to talk about because this is one where you've acquired it, you've done a bit of work to it, you've improved the value, and then you've exited and you've used none of your own money to acquire this end property, which is just amazing, right?
It is, yeah, I still can't believe it.
So what we're going to do, oh, I've lost you, Michelle. I'm not sure it's my end, my signal, or just you. So jump back in when you're available. So this was a 10-bed licensed HMO in Chester in an Article 4. Oh, you're back, Michelle.
I'm back, yeah.
Okay, great. Do you want to just briefly explain about why was this seller prepared to do an option to? And actually, this lead came from someone else. You didn't find this first, did you, Michelle?
I didn't. And it actually came through another sourcer who was a rent-to-rent sourcer. So that's what he did. He was sourcing rent-to-rent deals. Oh, my video's just playing up here. Hold on a second. Yeah, he was sourcing rent-to-rent deals, and this one, he was just too busy. So
Yeah.
he found this one and he said to me, would you like to have a look at this deal? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll have a look. But it was based on a rent to rent. And I looked at it and thought, do you know what? I think it needs too much money putting into it. So I thought,
Yeah.
I'll have a chat with the owner. I think a lot of people would have just dismissed it at that point. But I
Yes.
thought, let's chat with the owner anyway and see what we can do.
Yeah. So on that note, I think a lot of people say, well, I've heard you can do an option for £1. And they think, well, if you've got to put more than £1, I'm not going to do the deal. So, and I think you're right. In this case, it didn't really work as a rent to rent because there was probably too much money to be put in. But as an option where you get the benefit of the capital growth as well, actually, it's kind of worth doing, right?
Well, yeah, do you know actually what it was looking back? I remember because I was on Mastermind when I was doing this deal, and I remember you saying, if you're coming across rent to rents, like that's fine, but always ask them and see if you can convert it to a option agreement first. So that's what
Yes.
I had in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And interestingly, the guy who sourced this, is a good sourcer, really understands rent to rent, successful rent to renter, but he didn't have the knowledge that you had, did he? Because otherwise he probably would have done it himself the way you did it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this knowledge, guys, you might think everyone knows this. I tell you, the vast majority of people don't understand options. They're not even aware of them. And those that have heard of them don't really, because they've watched a few YouTube videos, but they've probably not done any training. And even some of the training, unfortunately, out there is not very good, tells you the wrong kind of stuff, really. So, um, so you agreed to buy the property at the full price, which was about 350 at the time, on a 5-year lease option, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Now it did need a bit of work doing on it, which is why it didn't work as rent to rent. Um, and you actually, do you want to talk about, you actually got the owners put some money in and then the rest you borrowed from private investors?
Yeah, because when I took it on originally, I was kind of, doing it real time with them. And you know what Richard Branson says, just say yes and figure out how later. So that's what I was doing. And I thought, how can I buy some time here? Because it needs some refurb doing to it. So I just asked them again, what are things that I just learned on Mastermind to negotiate. So I asked them
Yep.
for 8 weeks rent free so that we could
Yep.
get key access. So we could go in there and start doing the work, or at least get, the trades lined up, do some painting and things like that. So they agreed to 8 weeks rent free, and then I said, in order to speed things up really quickly, would you consider putting in, a little bit of the refurb money so that we can get going straight away? And they said yes, they would be happy to do that. So they put in 6,000. There was 36 left on the refurb, but I did it, dribs and jabs. It all didn't need doing straight away, and there was some things that we could do later on. And yeah, I just borrowed the refurb money from an investor. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay. So, and then you agree to pay a monthly fee to them, which in this case was 1,550. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously because it's an HMO, you've got expense, you've got bills and cleaning and stuff like that. So obviously you've got to take that into account as well. So that was 1,800. Now this is starting to add up, right? You kind of think, hang on a minute, you've got to pay the owner something, you've got the bills. That's quite a lot to be going out. But obviously it's a 10-bed HMO. And the initial rent when you first took it on was 4,000. And obviously they didn't have it let, but you improved it, you let it 4,706. So a nice profit for you there. But over time, because you've improved it and because rents have gone up, the actual income has gone up over time as well, right?
Yeah, it increased because if you think about it, the £1,500 was fixed for 5 years. So it didn't matter what was happening with the mortgages and rates and things. That was just a fixed amount every month.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And so the initial profit was from one property that you didn't own, 1,409 per month, which is almost 17,000 a year. And I remember you saying, Michelle, that's kind of what you were earning as a teacher when you kind of were thinking about leaving teaching. Um, from one deal, that's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, this was the deal that allowed me to leave, because when I saw that I was earning this profit, I just thought, you know, this is it. This is the life-changing deal that makes the difference between being able to leave teaching or not. So, yeah, it was crazy,
That's
crazy.
amazing.
All from a property that I didn't own, that I hadn't put the deposit in,
Yeah.
and I was literally just controlling it from day one,
Yeah.
as
And
if I
actually,
owned it.
if you think about it, the amount you were paying the owner each, for some people think, oh, I've got to commit to make this payment. That's probably less than you'd pay or similar to if you had a mortgage on it. So it's no more commitment than you make when you say you're going to pay a mortgage each month, right?
Yeah, also, I think that worked out around 4 rooms. So obviously
Yeah.
some rooms are bigger than others, but the risk, when I looked at the risk, I thought I've only got to let 4 rooms out of this 10 beds in order to make sure I pay the owners and cover the costs. So
Yeah.
yeah.
This is profit. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, now so that's pretty cool. And over that 5-year period, it's made you, and obviously the rent. This was the initial first year, 17,000 a year, but obviously that's increased over time. So it's
Yeah.
made I think about £100,000 in profit over 5 years. This deal in
Yeah.
terms of rental profit. Which, and guys, I want that to sink in. This obviously is a bigger deal, and sorry, Michelle has done mastermind. She's learned about HMOs. She knows how to do those kind of things, right? But this one deal that she bought from, didn't even find herself. Someone else found it for her. She paid them a small fee for it. This one deal has made £100,000 over 5 years. And by the way, it gets better than that. So coming to the end of the option period, 5 years, and this is now past that, and Michelle's bought this property. Some people think, okay, well, I'm going to buy it. How do I find the deposit? How do I get my mortgage? Well, because this is a larger HMO, this is a commercial valuation, and that's based on the rental income. So the value of this property when Michelle came to buy it was £550,000. And she was able to go to a commercial lender like Shawbrooks and get a mortgage of 410,000. So look, she's buying it for 350, and yet the mortgage the day she buys is 410. And so the mortgage is more than she's buying it for. So therefore, Michelle was able to pay the owner all their money, pay the stamp duty, pay all the legal costs, and actually end up with some money. So, Michelle, you got paid to buy this property. You got money in the bank the day you bought this property, right?
It's crazy. So because it appreciated so much, the deposit money was locked in, so I didn't need to find that money. And then there was the surplus money that came out, which paid for all of the fees. And then there was cash out of £26,000 that ended up going on the next deal. So this was to make sure that it reached this certain point. There was like it was because of the commercial valuation, right? So
Yeah.
because it was valued because of the rents, because the time had passed, and because the refurb was done, it was valued at this higher price. And as you said before, Simon, if you can get it where it's a commercial valuation, then you can leave that deposit money in. So and I didn't have to find the money up front at the very beginning of the PLO, and then I didn't have to find it at the end. And it's still an absolute disbelief to me. And I thought, as I was going through towards the end of this deal, I was a little bit nervous because I was thinking, okay, I know it can be done because I've seen other people do it, but because I hadn't done it myself and exercised the option, I wasn't completely convinced that they would lend me the money. Well, actually, do you know what, Simon? I only found out just the other day that the lenders will lend you the money, but only at the point of exercising the option.
Yes.
So at the point of exercising the option. So there you go. I went through the whole process, got the money out, did it all. And it was only about 2 weeks ago I found out that at the point of exercising where you're buying, that's where the lender will lend you the mortgage money as if you were just buying it like anybody else.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And it's interesting, you that's what I mean about a lot of people don't really understand. They've heard about us, they've heard things from people. So someone said here, I understand it's very difficult to get a mortgage if the property is under your control. That's not correct. That's what you've heard from mortgage brokers who don't understand options. When you have the right power team who understand how to do this and are doing this, I've got lots of clients who are buying properties with mortgages and they're using lenders who get it and brokers who get it. So again, you've got to be very careful about beliefs you have about this that are actually incorrect and are stopping you moving forward. Would you agree with that, Michelle?
exactly. And I was a bit nervous. I thought, how are they going to lend me the money when I don't own it?
Yeah.
You know what? It was only because I was in the PIN community and I could see other people doing it that I knew it was possible. And the rest I just left to the
Yeah.
solicitors. I
Well,
thought, you know what you're doing here.
when you buy a house, they don't give you money in advance. It's go to a solicitor on the day you buy it, right? It's exactly the
Exactly.
same as when you exercise the option, which is actually buying the property. They lend you the money on the day, so it's exactly the same as buying. That's what you need to understand.
Exactly. And we've got a question here from Linda about the repayments. So the repayments are now the mortgage is £2,120, isn't it? So
Yes.
if you think
So
about the rental income still, well over 5,000,
yeah.
5,700, there's still plenty
So you're
um,
because you've
profit.
you've got a higher mortgage, higher than the price. So your monthly payment has gone up. Yeah. So you're paying more to the
Yeah,
mortgage company than you were originally to the owner
agreed.
that's fixed for 5 years. However, the rent's gone up over that time. So I think you're making about £2,000 a month profit, aren't you?
Yeah,
So hang on,
exactly.
that's £2,000 a month profit on a property who's got none of your money. In fact, you've had £26,000 out of this property. I mean, I'm just trying to get people to understand this is how amazing this can be, right? All money out and 2K a month cash flow, which is great. If you like a deal like this, just put the word deal into the chat box. Okay, great. Michelle, I'm going to ask you there are two other things I want to ask you about, and we're just very short of time, but so thank you so much for this. And one thing is this, um, you are now living in your dream home. You, like me, you are living in a purchase lease option as well. Do you want to give
Yeah.
us a quick 60 seconds on that?
Yeah, sure. So the money that came out from this went straight on to the next purchase lease option deal, which is a beautiful location. It's a three-bed maisonette house. It's on a lake. So if people know the Wirral, which is near Wales, so it overlooks the North Wales Hills, near Chester and Liverpool. And yeah, it's a place that I've always wanted to live there for many years. I walked past it and there was a sign up. I didn't get a notification because it was classed as a maisonette instead of a house, which fine it is, but my notifications didn't pick up on it. So there
Yeah.
you go. That's a lesson there. But yeah, so it sat on the market. As soon as I saw it, I looked on Property Filter, of course, and then I could see that it had been on for 395, dropped to 375, and then it was now on for 325. And I just called up and said, I would like to make a crazy offer. And she said, okay, this is through the agent. I said, well, but just before I do make this crazy offer, just be reassured that you're going to get your commissions like really quicker than if it had gone through a mortgage. And she said, okay. So I said, I'd like to offer the 325, but I'd like 5 years to buy it. And in the meantime, I'll pay £1,000 a month to lease it off them. So, we went back and forth. I offered a few sweeteners, like paying 6 months up front, and then offered 12 months up front, which they accepted. I paid for the legal fees and I paid for the agent fees, but only because I was a motivated buyer, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure I could have negotiated a bit more, but it was well worth it. It's an incredible property, incredible location. And I can see 3 beds down the road now are on for 450, and it's not even as nice. So I can see instantly the values around where we live are going up. It's a very
And
desirable area.
what did you secure yours at?
325.
With some money needed for work and improvements, but yeah, that's still great. And then also, aren't you paying less rent now than you were paying previously?
Yeah, so the £1,000 a month, I thought they'd negotiate and try and go up. So that's why I kind of lowballed them, I thought. But they didn't negotiate. So previously we were renting and we were paying £600. In fact, as we were leaving, the owner put the rent up to £1,800. So we were essentially saving £800 a month just by moving into this place, regardless of like anything else.
Yeah,
So
and probably living in a better place right by the lake, which is just amazing, right?
a million times better. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
So
So remember, not only can you use this to acquire properties and get cash flow, as I said, many people here, maybe you want to get a better place to live in yourself, or you have a family member who might want to get on the ladder. Lease options can be used to do that as well. And someone's mentioned you need to have power of attorney. Yeah, there are things you need to do, but your solicitor who understands will be able to take care of all of that for you. And the final thing, Michelle, 30 seconds, just, I know latest deal, it's going through legals at the moment. Are you just buying a portfolio of 22 properties on lease options?
yeah, exactly. So this one came through a saucer and it was just presented as a great deal. There was money locked into the deal from straight away, which isn't always the case with the purchase lease option, but it was a 5% discount on the market value.
Yeah.
It's a big portfolio, and the plan is to, as you said before, to just flip some of them straight away just to generate some cash, keep the best ones at the end. And yeah, it then needs a strategy around it, but 22 units. And yeah, we looking forward to getting that one over the line. So
Fantastic. Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Can we thank Michelle in the chat box? Thank you, Michelle. Awesome. And just very inspiring to hear your stories, and great for you to come on and share about real life experience. Thank you so much, Michelle.
you're
Speak to you
very
soon.
welcome. I'll put the link in the chat just if people want to connect with me. Just check me out on
Perfect. Yep,
social
do that.
media.
No problem. That's great. Thank you, Michelle. Awesome.
Take
So,
care.
so great. Thank you. So look, why is now the perfect time? Look, we're in this buyer's market. There are more sellers than there are buyers. Sellers are going to become more and more motivated and more flexible. And there's uncertainty what the government's going to do with budget and renters' rights bill. And most buyers are waiting to see what, most investors like us are waiting to see what happens. That means there's very low competition, and many landlords are looking to sell up and get out. So that means that if they want to sell, they're either going to take a discount if they want to sell quickly, or maybe they could do this. So this is the biggest opportunity this decade we have. What's it worth to you? Well, let's say you pick up just one property, a lease option at 300,000 on a purchase lease option, and you use it as an HMO or SA, it could make you £1,000 a month profit. That's profit after paying the owner, after paying the bills. That's £12,000 a year. And let's say you own that. And in 10 years, property normally doubles, not everywhere, not all times, but let's say it goes up from 300 up to maybe 500, not quite doubling, but up to 500. That's £200,000 of capital growth on a property you don't even own. And plus the £12,000 a year, 120,000 over that 10-year period. That's £320,000 of profit you've made over 10 years from one property. From one property. That's 32,000 a year if you average it out. And that's probably about the average salary in the UK. So this is so powerful. People don't. So you really need to understand. And what if, by the way, you meet a landlord who's got not just one property, but they've got 5 or 10 properties they want to get rid of? Your next deal could be with a landlord that gives you all the properties you need in one go. Okay. Now, more and more landlords setting up, huge opportunity. Now, we kind of come to the end of today. I hope this inspired you. But what I want to do, I'm going to take another 10 minutes or so, if it's okay with you, to share with you the opportunity. I would like to help you learn everything you know. On this 3 days, we've had 3 hours to make you aware, to make you understand some of the key things, and hopefully spot some deals in your area and see that actually there are deals out there. But if you'd like to learn how, or you'd like me to tell you how you can learn everything, just put learn into the chat box. If you think, yeah, I love this, I really want to learn how to do this properly, because only a limited amount we can share in the time we have available. Okay. And I do hope you've enjoyed this completely free chat. And when we go to my VIP, we'll be a little bit late to VIP, guys, but I'll still make sure you get the full hour with me. We'll answer any questions you've got that we haven't had a chance to go to today. Okay. Because with almost 200 people on this training today, I'm never going to get around to all the questions, but VIP is a much smaller group and hopefully we'll answer most of those questions. So lots of people saying learn. So let me tell you about this. We have a home study program. Now, important to understand that you can't just get access to our home studies at any time. We release our home studies once or twice a year at a certain time of year when all of the people on my year-long mastermind program are also going through the training. So there's a study from home program. Basically, you do it in your own time, but you're not doing it on your own. There's a group that you are a part of, okay? So there's 6 modules that go from everything from understand the basics, some things I've covered today, to, okay, how do you find them? And we've told you about property field. There's some other great ways. So you can work with agents. What do you say to agents? We've got all the scripts you use for agents and sellers, etc. These 6 modules, how do you do the due diligence on it, the research, check the numbers, the cash flow, the return on investment? What do you actually say to the seller? Then we've got advanced strategies as well. So there's 6 modules. We release 1 module a week, and we're releasing module number 1 this coming Saturday. Now, you don't need to be available on Saturday. It's all pre-recorded training. It's about an hour to 2 hours per week in probably 5 to 10 videos in each module that are 5 to 25 minutes long. So it's an hour to 2 hours each week, and you get lifetime access to the online training, by the way. Number 1's coming out this Saturday. 1 module released over the next 6 weeks. So you don't get overwhelmed. It's very easy to fit it into your lifestyle, even if you're busy, and you get lifetime access. And it's everything you need to know to do these options. Study at home, but not on your own. And the full price is £1,650. That includes VAT, and you can offset that investment through your property business. And there's a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're not absolutely delighted within 14 days, actually it's going to be, I think 16 days, we're going to do it from the 20th when you get access to module 1. Just let us know, you get all of your money back. Okay. So as well as the 6 modules, I put together a bit of a package for you to get the most out of it. So we normally sell this training between £1,000 and £2,000 just for the training. I want to give you 6 weeks of group calls where each week you come onto a group. It'll be smaller than the number of people here. You get to ask any questions you want about the training you've just been through and any help. And then also we have our 2-day lease options live. We had, I think it was Dean won that yesterday in our prize draw. But for everyone else, it's a £1,500 event. It's on the 15th and 16th of November. I'm talking quickly because I'm conscious of the time, so I am trying to do this very quickly for you. Team, can we put a link in the chat box now, please, to go to the order page if people want to take up the advantage? They can just open it in case they need to jump off for work. You can click on the link and then you can go through to the order page. And basically, we put this package together. So it's a whole package, which the total is £5,494. £5,494 is the package. So let me ask you a question. Would it be worth investing £5,494 in yourself so that you can replace your income quickly this year, as in 2025, not just next 12 months? You could actually do it before the end of 25. Would that be worth it? What do you think? Well, of course it would be worth it. What if you found a landlord, not just in one, but 5, 10 properties? That could be done in one easy go. However, we don't charge that much. I've already told you the investment is less than that. It's a total investment of £1,650, but we've broken it down into 6 easy payments. So to get started on this, you can get started with just £275 this month, and there'll be a further 5 payments. And ideally, if you go through it and apply what we teach you, you should be making money even before you finish paying for this program, which is a pretty fast return on investment. Or if you want, you get a slight discount and save £153 if you pay in one go, and it's £1,497 if you pay in one full payment. So the link you need is here. We are going to put that. So team, can we, if we don't have that, if we can put that into the chat box. Oh yes, it is already in the chat box for you. Okay, so it's there in chat box, or you could just take a screenshot of this. I will show you a QR code in a moment as well. Okay, if all this did was to help you acquire your first PLO, making you £1,000 a month, would it be worth it? Well, I think so, probably would, right? What about if it helps you buy property in the future, like Michelle, no money down because you're using the equity growth as a deposit? Would that be worth it? Well, yes, of course it would. What if you can assign a profit? You don't even want to buy it. At the end, you assign it to someone else and you make a profit. Would that be worth it? Yes. And what about if you're a landlord, you've got property to sell, you want to sell them to tenant buyers at the full market price? Would that be worth it? Yes, of course that would be worth it. So I think it's amazing value already for just £1,650 if you pay in 6 installments, or if you pay in one go, £1,497. However, I've got some extra bonuses for you. The first thing is you need to have the right solicitors. So we have a panel of solicitors which we will give you, which you can use. These people do this day in, day out. This will reduce the cost of you doing it because they're not trying to work out how to do it, and actually make sure deals get done. This is worth easy £2,500. We're going to give you access to that. Very quickly, you might think, well, this sounds great. How can I do this? This is Josh. Josh was 17 when he did his first one. He did our training. This is a 13-bed HMO in Oxford, an expensive area. He agreed to buy the property for $840. But he said, you know, look, I can't buy it now. I'm only 17. I want to buy it in a few years' time. The owner said, yeah, fine. They agreed a 5-year option. He didn't give it to him for £1 because it was a high cash flowing property. He wanted some skin in the game from Josh. So he wanted a £5,000 upfront fee. His costs were $600. That's a little on the light side. I think it was Josh's mum is an investor, and she tried teaching him this. He didn't listen to his mum, so she sent him to me to teach him it. And I think he got a mate's rate sort of thing. It should be a bit more, but he only paid $600 in legals. His monthly cost is $3,900. So $3,000 to the owner each month, which might seem quite a lot, but the owner had no mortgage. He didn't want the property anymore. Just want to get it out of his hair. $900 for the bills, $3,900 a month commitment, but the rental income is $5,400. It was all full bar one room when Josh took it over. He decorated that one room, and as each tenant's moved out over time, he's redecorated the whole property. He makes £1,500 profit. This was when he was 17. £1,500 profit per month from the that's 18,000 a year. And it wasn't a fluke. He's now got 3 properties. He's now gone to college. He's the richest student in his college. He's not going to leave in debt. He's going to leave with money in the bank. If a 17-year-old can do this, believe me, you can do it as well. Now, just to get you going, because we released the 6 modules over 6 weeks. I know some people say, look, I want to get going quickly on this. We have a shorter 4-module training called a PLO Quick Start. It is shorter. It's not as comprehensive as the main 6 modules. but it teaches you what you need to get going. We sell that for £497. We're going to give you instant access to that. Also, you really should have a property business moving forward. We've got some training about that. Normally £1,000, we're going to give you that. And also, we have some case studies. People like Josh, who I've interviewed at our events, interviews from Michelle talking about some of her deals, just to help build your belief that you can do this. We normally sell those for £1,000. You're going to get access to all of those. Okay. This is John. I'll go through this very quickly. John picked up a whole portfolio, all this within the red line here. It's based down in Southampton. Semi-detached properties, 4-bed, when 2 flats, a studio and a dance studio. He got the option for £1. The owners were trying to sell it. They couldn't sell it. It needed a bit of work to it. So he spent 50,000 doing a refurb. He could have borrowed that. Monthly option fee to the owner, it's 4,000. This is £1 million plus property. Other bills, because he runs it as serviced accommodation, so 3,500 a month for the cleaning, the laundry, all the electricity, the council taxes, etc. But his rental income, he rents it to the local council. They use it for emergency housing. They're saving a fortune by not using hotels and things. They use this instead. 170,000. His profit per month is 9,500 from one deal. Now, will you do this as your first deal? No, of course not. John is an experienced, he's done our mastermind program. He's done lots of creative deals like this, but this is the kind of thing you could be doing. And a return on investment based on that 50K in, 228%, which is a pretty healthy return. My next bonus for you is, rather than just give me 6 months, I want to help you for a full 12 months. We have a private Facebook group called Lease Options Academy. You can get into this group. You get monthly group support calls with one of my top option coaches. You get to connect with all the other investors going through this home study program. It's £500 a month, £6,000 a year, but we're going to give you access for the first year included as part of this package. So if you add everything together, we have this crazy package worth almost £17,000, but you can get access for just 275 today and a further 5 payments of 275, or pay in full for 1497. And you've got a 14-day money back guarantee. By the way, when you pay in full, we'll give you an upgrade, which is you get lifetime access to the PLO Academy, not just 12 months. And you can buy and sell deals in there. You can connect with other people. It's an amazing, I think we've got about 400 or 500 people in that group. Amazing community to be in. Now, with any investment, there's always a risk, okay? But I want to remove all the risk from this investment for you. You're going to have actually not just 14, sorry, that should be 16, I think, 16 days up until the 6th of October to come in, check it out. So you don't have to decide today. All you're saying is, yeah, I'm interested. I'm going to put down some commitment here to make sure you actually go through and value it. But then basically, I'm not asking you to decide today, you know? Doesn't have to be yes or no today. I want you to make a decision, an informed decision, to make sure this is right for you. And the only way you do that is on the inside, not from the outside. Okay. So you can get in the inside and see and decide for yourself how truly valuable this is. And if it's not valuable, that's when you decide, if it is that valuable, you decide you're going to keep it. If not, just ask for a refund. Okay. If it's not right for you, no hard feelings. By registering today, you're going to be able to make a fully informed decision if this isn't for you or if it is. And you can't make the right decision now because you wouldn't buy a house without first looking inside. We're getting to come in, look around, come on the group coaching calls, get into the Facebook, get the help. And if it's 18 days from now, actually 18 days from now, you're not happy, then I'm not happy. Just let us know and you can have all of your money back. Okay. And I can make that guarantee because I know this is the real deal. We have people, lots of people who've come in, they've listened to what we said, they've applied the knowledge, and they've got life-changing results like Michelle. So we're going to have to end here. I'm going to end in about 1 minute's time. There's a link in the chat box again for you. Come and click on the link in the chat box. I'm sorry we don't have time for all the questions here. I'm going to go into the VIP group at the moment. Obviously, we will answer as many questions as we can, and I'll give you a full hour as we've committed to all our VIPs. Open up your QR code. Now, you have until, I think it's 5 p.m. tomorrow. 5 p.m. tomorrow, that's Friday. No, sorry, 5 p.m. on, sorry, beg your pardon, 5 p.m. on Friday. So not tomorrow, the day after. It's Wednesday today, isn't it? So 5 p.m. on Friday, that's when we close this down because we want to make sure everyone's got into the Facebook group. You've got the link to the Kajabi online training, which is going to release on Saturday. And then the first orientation call I'm doing it is actually next week. So that's why it's this week to get in. All you have to do is decide, do I want to pay in full or do I want to do installments? Okay, there's that extra bonus when you pay in full, which is what most people do, to be honest. And you've got your 14-day, well, 18-day money back guarantee. So as soon as you join today, what happens is you're going to get a link to come and join the Facebook group. You're going to get all it is of the coaching calls to put in your diary. If you can't make the coaching calls live, by the way, they are all recorded. And you can come and join now, take action now, or you can do it next couple of days. You can think about it if you want. However, don't leave it too late. If you miss Friday 5 p.m, you cannot come in next week. No exceptions. It's not about the money. We want to make sure we've got a group who are going through this together at the same time. So to incentivize it, I have a little bit of a final fast action bonus. You see, you've got to make a choice. You can either do nothing and not take this leap of faith, which is 100% risk-free, but then you're not going to get where you want to go. Or you could put up this relatively small investment today compared to the value you're going to get in return. Give it a shot, and you're far more likely to get where you want to go. And you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. Okay? So my fast action bonus is this. You know, we gave away to Leah. She won the prize draw, which was the ticket to our Wealth Blueprint Summit on the 4th and 5th of October, how to build your generational wealth through property, stocks, and business. Tickets to that are $1,997, including VAT. You can offset that through your business, 100% money back guarantee. But if you take action now, before midnight tonight, so midnight on Wednesday, if you do this, we will give you a ticket to Wealth Blueprint Summit that you and your family can sit in and watch as well as an extra bonus. We're just trying to make this a complete no-brainer for you. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I've got time for. VIPs, what we're going to do, I'm going to close the group down now. Please come and rejoin and come and connect, and then we'll go through our VIP session. Everyone else, thank you so much for being here on the challenge. You hope you got massive value from this. If you want to take it further and us help you and have my top coach and myself actually helping you, guiding you, I run the 2-day lease option live we're doing in November. I would love to help you get your next lease option deal. Let's give you all the knowledge you need. Let's give the support you need. Let's put it into practice and help you get your next cash generating property on an option before the end of this year. If you want to be part of that, come and join now. You've got everything to gain, nothing to lose. So thanks so much for being here, guys. Remember, the replays of these videos are going to be available for the next couple of days, I think up until 5 p.m. on Friday in the Facebook group. We'll probably send you an email as well, giving you a link to those. Come and check it out. Come and secure your place. I look forward to seeing you on the program, in the training, and in the Facebook group. Thanks so much, guys. Invest with knowledge, invest with skill. If you don't do this training, that's fine, up to you, but make sure you go out and take action, because it's such a great time to be doing deals. You don't want to miss out. Thanks so much, guys. See you very soon. All the best. VIPs, I will see you in the VIP group.